It's ironic that we did 1,000 interviews over the past couple of days and no one asked me this. Is the body language that each of these guys had. Nothing makes me prouder.
You know, when I grew up there, we used to live in this place called Alagapuram Pudur.
Oh,
you know,
how
when
beautiful it
Sounds
when North Indian boy. Yeah, basically.
The people who followed me from the beginning go back to Hyderabad Blues, but a lot of them go back to Iqbal and Dor. And I'm constantly, asked by people why I don't make something quote unquote uplifting like that.
It's literally the eve of the release of Hunt, the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case. It's out on Sony Live, 4th of July. Please go catch it. It is a master filmmaker, master author. I can call him that, at his absolute best, Nagesh Kukunoor. Great to see you.
Good to see you, Hrishi.
Looking fit and fine as always. Very envious of that.
Thank you.
And Amit Sial, one of the finest actors of our generation. What a wonderful job you've done. Welcome
Thank
to
you,
the
sir.
show.
Thank you very much.
And Sahil, how are you?
I'm good.
Very good. Well, it's wonderful that you and me go back such a long way. I was just reminiscing with Glenn, one of the young Turk radio presenters, and I'm literally the dino in this field, the dinosaur. and I met you and hark back to the days in God bless his soul, Naveen Nischal's house, recording with a portable DAT player. You're still making great movies. You've grown older very graciously. I've aged not graciously. but it's just wonderful to see you at the top of your game after all these years. I mean, discipline, would you say, is at the core of it? Or would you say surrounding yourself with the right people? What is it?
I think sticking to what you truly believe in, not losing focus of that in terms of, as we stay in the industry longer, you become a little bit jaded, outside inputs come in and you kind of succumb to that. So the other thing I'd say for sure is constantly challenging myself by doing stuff I haven't done before. So there is no sense of boredom in me as a filmmaker. I know everyone goes back to the people who followed me from the beginning go back to Hyderabad Blues, but a lot of them go back to Iqbal and Dor. And I'm constantly, asked by people why I don't make something quote unquote uplifting like that. And it's boring. You do the same crap over and over again. What you're good at is boring. So when I challenge myself, The Hunt being the best example, I feel I'm forced to give it my best, and then one always hopes it turns out the way you intended it to be.
You were always the unconventional one. Amit Sial, maybe you can add to this. I mean, he's an engineer. He's an engineering graduate.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time it was unheard of that an engineering graduate would end up making movies. Did you see a bit of the engineering graduate's brain at work?
I think so. Yeah. I think
they say right brain thinkers, left brain thinkers.
His calculations are absolutely to the point. And I think he does mental calculations a lot. I mean, even when he describes a scene which we have to enact, it's very map-like. It's very precise and basically men ko Sajjan Purush.
Very well said.
Yeah.
Like in Bangla they would say Bhadralok, but in Shuddh Hindi you'll say Sajjan Purush.
Yes,
very good.
And he's got a beautiful ear to listen to other people's inputs, and and I've never seen you rushing anything, no. Never ever he rushes into anything.
And what a treat that is.
Yeah, it is.
In an age where being a hyper director is almost the in thing to be, which is so wrong.
Like I never could hear on your set ki light aa raha hai, light ja raha hai. Jaldi karo.
Yeah.
I never realized that.
Yeah, and that's like a takya kalam, isn't it?
Ya to light aa raha hota hai ya ja raha hota hai.
Losing light.
Never heard that. I just realized that.
Yeah.
But just to tag on to that, I think I've told you this over the years. So much is made of direction, about it being a creative process, and you even use the word author and everything. I've always said 80 to 90% of direction is planning. When the planning is done to a ridiculous degree, and this I can say in 27 years, I've never gone back for a reshoot. Not once.
Oh, great.
I have never gone over the number of days that we set out to shoot. 27 years. That I consider bragging rights. Now, whether I make good stuff or not, that is secondary. But it's because of that I plan this to death to such a ridiculous degree. And, you know, I mean, fate can still intervene and throw you a googly, but I do my work. So.
You know, it's crazy, but we were on a trip to Switzerland, and I really pained my wife because I took half a day to make it a point to make a pilgrimage to Charlie Chaplin's house. Because Charlie Chaplin spent the last 25 years of his filmmaking also in Switzerland.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And his house has become a museum, and there's a screening theatre and this and that. But it takes you an awful long time to get there. And you obviously, when you take your family out to Switzerland, they think Yash Chopra ki wadiyan and I bored them to death getting there, but once they got there, even the kids, the wife, were all fascinated by it because they haven't. Chaplin's diaries where he made notes, and they're so copious. I mean, you look at the tramp and this and that, saying comedian hai, theek hai, karke kya hoga, they're so detailed. They kept his cameras, his lenses, and all those detailed notes. And this is an era where the Xeroxes that come in the later part, cyclostyle paper, passing those copies on and things like that. So in a lot of ways, even though he's downplayed his own role, he's right about the meticulous preparation. It's wonderful, the art of direction. The beauty about our mutual friend Sameer Nair is this wonderful gift. I don't know if Amit and Sahil have started receiving that gift. They will. That he sends our way once a year, where Sam will send this applause hamper which has books in it, and good old-fashioned books.
I have received it.
You've received it?
Yes, I haven't.
So Sahil will receive it.
Very well curated.
Very well curated.
Yeah.
It could be books on metaphysics as well as books on filmmaking or just plain fiction. Wow. So I wonder if he sent you The Hunt or did you discover The Hunt, the book, before he did?
It's all him.
It's all him, yeah.
Aniruddha Mitra had approached him. And, Sameer and I have become, we've known each other very well, but we've genuinely become friends over the years. And he sort of said, I think this is something you'd like. And I was like, I don't want to do anything political. He said, it's not. And just in that first meeting, he threw 4-5 incidents from the book my way. And I was like, that happened? He's like, the whole book's like that. So take a look at it. So collectively, we made a decision that we would not stray into anything political. But the Hunt coming to me, all him.
Wow, amazing. Syed, obviously everybody who watches this series is going to turn around and say, my God, the guy Amit Verma, does he exist really? That he speaks such fluent Tamil? The explanation is there in the screenplay as well, where he says that he's a Tamil Nadu Kada guy, and he loves his yella sapad, which is the banana leaf food. Loves his mean korma and things like that. But I wonder what kind of planning you had to do to get into that. Do you speak fluent Tamil even otherwise?
Yes.
Is that a lifetime in Chennai?
It's 11 years in Salem.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
The home of the circus.
Circus,
and
yes.
A lot more. If you, Amit bhai, रात को जो साइकिल वाले लड़के हैं जो चाय कॉफी पिलाते हैं,
they're all from there.
So next time you stop there for tea, coffee, and other things which can't be mentioned, ask them कि आप कहाँ से हो. I guarantee you 9 out of 10, if you're a late night person stopping by for a coffee, you'll say I'm from Salem.
Salem, Tirunelveli.
Tirunelveli, Salem.
I didn't realize that.
Fantastic.
Where did I go to school? Montfort, Yercard.
Ah.
So I take a train to Salem. I know Salem very well.
Yeah.
And then hop on a bus to go to the school.
Beautiful.
He told me about National Hotel. I was like, yeah.
Biryani, my God.
Yeah. And actually, I was in Chennai last week. Of course, I mean, the circumstances were such. I had to take my dad to Apollo Cancer. We had to do a PET scan and things like that. But the city has improved by leaps and bounds. I remember there used to be water problems. There's no water problems. My chacha, my chitapa and all are like, dude, that's unheard of now. There's electricity is improved. It's actually a very, very beautiful, livable city, even from a cosmopolitan perspective.
When I grew up there, we used to live in this place called Alagapuram Pudur.
Oh,
You know,
how
when you-
beautiful it
Sounds
when North Indian boy. You're basically Punjabis. No?
I'm basically Punjabi. I'm a
How
Punjabi
beautiful
boy.
it seems to see a Punjabi say it like
But
this.
when you hear Alagapuram Pudur, any Tamil speaking person would say, Alagapuram Pudur, the imagination is cows,
Yeah.
farmland, coconut trees, jhurmut. That's how it was. But now, recently I went back to Salem and I was like, what is this? Everything's changed. It's become a proper cosmopolitan city now.
Say Varaparam.
Varapalam, sir.
God. That was the test. Banana ko, wo order jo hai na,
Varapalam.
वो even Bombay Tamils can't say it. You know, हम लोग तो ठीक है इंडस्ट्री में हैं, परफॉर्मिंग आर्टिस्ट हम कर लेते हैं. लेकिन even Bombay Tamils, I'm not able to get that right.
See, now I feel my whole life has been a preparation for that.
Beautiful. I'm so happy. I really enjoyed your performance.
Thank you.
And all of you, yes, I've seen a preview, but all of you, I hope that urges you to get on. I'm going to keep repeating this a few times. It's Sony Live. It's called The Hunt. Friday the 4th. Please get friends and family to watch it. Amit, Karthikeyan is such an interesting character because he doesn't say too much, but he says what is necessary.
And he doesn't get flustered.
And he doesn't get flustered at all.
Yeah.
Is the real man around? Did you get to meet him?
No, I didn't get to meet him. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know what to say about that. But I did go through a lot of his videos, and especially a couple of his very good interviews where he's talking about the marks of his career, you know, because he served in a lot of different places. He was in CRPF, he headed CRPF, he headed Human Rights Commission, then he did this investigation. And he was also talking about this investigation per se, not going too much deep into it, upar se, but then you get to know the person when you know, when you hear him talking, see him, the way he is, and the physicality also, and his little bit of his inner soul also, you know, a very proper point to point guy, you know. And then you would assume as an actor a few things about how to, you know, put him out in the world when you're acting him out. It's impossible to get 100% out of what you see through online videos, but I think इतना तो हो गया as an actor. अभी पता चल जाता है कि how much to, don't go overboard at all.
Okay, now this is for the Gen Zs out there. The film is not a political look or political statement at all, but you must understand, and that's why I'm getting into this conversation, why this particular case was so important in the history of our country, irrespective of what political party Rajiv Gandhi was part of. I don't even want to get into that. Nagesh, he was charismatic.
absolutely.
He was a pilot cum politician, which is very, very rare. Had a bit of a tragic past. His mother had been, a victim of terrorist assassination. But he was, at this point of time, at the cusp of coming back into power.
It was a given.
It was a given. And it was a prime minister that a lot of us in urban India were pretty proud of.
Correct.
Irrespective of what party he was, saying कि boss, देश के बाहर इज्जत बची रहेगी.
National projection was
fantastic. I don't know how people in rural India viewed him, but so at that point for this to happen, it hit Indians irrespective of where we were, the diaspora.
Correct.
So talk about that and how that is really the opening board into this extraordinary story of predominantly South India, which is not much spoken about. You always talk about partition stories, what's happening with terrorism in north of the Vindhyas, but the ethos of Tamil Nadu and this whole thing happening.
Well, you just mentioned him being a pilot. One of the things that hit me most about what went down on that fateful day in 1991 is the fact that 100 things had to align to absolute perfection for him to be assassinated that day. And the ridiculousness of fact being stranger than fiction, it never stopped being a thing on the set when we were constantly working together, These guys were acting, I was directing, saying that I can't believe this really happened. You take that one particular day, right? Even when he just finished a rally and he couldn't take off because they didn't find the part, and it would have been safe.
Somebody came up with a spare part.
Someone came up with a spare part. And he was in such a good mood, he piloted the plane himself. And he lands in Chennai or Madras back then. So, I mean, I'm not going into the details.
And the detailing is so staggering in this series, is that there are lots of things that are left out from the book they don't make it into the screenplay. But Nagesh has been, and the other writers have been very careful in selecting what needs to be in. For example, he didn't even need to be in Sri Perumbudur. They constantly say you don't need to, because Jayalalitha, who's his party representative, the alliance, was going to win in any case.
Hands down.
But he wanted to.
Yeah.
He actually, it was almost as though he played into the hands of destiny.
Yeah. It was the local MLA who he fondly called Auntie. He'd made a promise to her that he would tour a constituency. So he was insistent that he would show up that day. So it was as random as that. But the thing that you mentioned about Tamil Nadu, and what made me very happy, because I spent a good many years there and went to boarding school, is when we embarked on the show, and again thanks to Samir, who backed me totally on this, we were never ever going to cheat the audiences on the Tamil part of this show. Creatively, I use Hindi because Amit Verma can speak Hindi and Tamil, so I use that as a screenwriter. But never, when the camera is on Tamilians, everyone's talking Tamil,
and even Karthi,
correct,
we presume is a Tamil who's lived in the north.
Correct.
And the Sri Lankan Tamils have a separate accent, which is what anybody in Tamil Nadu will tell you.
Correct.
You can make out, like people in Bengal will tell you, the Bangla spoken by a Bangladeshi and a Bangla spoken by a person in West Bengal.
True.
Similarly, any Tamil will tell you that Lankan Tamil is different. So it's staggering, the detailing, which I really love. Who's this actor who plays Raghothaman? I mean, you are left stunned when you see Amit Sial, and you are left stunned when you see Sahil. These are all actors who have tremendous control over their craft.
Correct.
But then these actors from regional cinema, oh my God, you haven't seen them that much, and you say, where have they fallen to us? I mean, was it you? Was it a casting person? I don't know.
It was the casting director. It was casting bay. Anmolu said, you have to. Gave me a couple of options for Raghothaman, but he said, this is the guy who'll fit. And Bhagwati Perumal, that's his name. He was already well established with Super Deluxe and all that. And then he said, trust me, don't look any further, just take this guy.
Yeah.
And the visual resemblance also was pretty decent, so we just ran with it.
All of them. And the guy who plays Amod Kant. No.
Danish Iqbal.
Danish Iqbal.
Brilliant.
One thing I want to add, which it's ironic that we did 1,000 interviews over the past couple of days and no one asked me this, is the body language that each of these guys had.
Yeah.
Nothing makes me prouder.
Yeah.
And it was not something that I was saying, work on the body language. It's just the inherent body language, because one of the most amazing thing when you look at the past and you look at these pictures, you see these amazing investigative officers just blending into the background, wearing grays and whites, but just standing like this. And each of them, I mean, Amit, the way he carried himself, like Karthikeyan, ramrod straight, never once is he like, and this kind of detailing is something that only we directors will be happy. But it's what makes the character whole. This guy is bulldogish every time, and it was all this. And
he's a foodie, but when he pulls out a gun, it seems as though it's an appendage of his arm. Which
goes nuts, right?
It just goes nuts, yeah.
And Bhagwati, when the first shot, when he gets down from the scooter and walks in, it's that awkward, he just kind of rubs his face and he just... these things are what make the universe so enjoyable.
And the guy who plays Sivarasan, master stroke.
Yeah.
Talk about that actor. And the eye, it's so real. That prosthetic, my God.
A Mallu.
Yeah.
Again, Casting Bay found him, and Shafiq Mustafa. And because you mentioned him, I'll quickly go into the fact that we had a fair number of Malayalis on this, because our biggest challenge was to find actors who looked the part.
Yeah.
So that was the starting point.
Yeah.
And so I'm directing actors. The scenes in Tamil, I understand, I'd say 60% of Tamil pretty well. But guess what? They're speaking Sri Lankan Tamil. So, okay.
Yeah.
I have no clue. Because just those 3-4 words would throw me into a loop and they'd be like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? And then there are Mallus. Now, I'm shooting one scene, since you've seen it, with Prabhakaran and Sivarasan.
Yeah.
And this is on day 3. Day 1 and day 2 I've directed Amit. I'm like, fly, chalo, show track pe aa raha hai, sab Hindi bol rahe hain. We shot at Ellora Studios. I'm in the group. Day 3 I get into the LTT world and we shoot. This is the first scene that we shoot. And Mallu 1 playing Prabhakaran, Mallu 2 playing Sivarasan. Telugu Nagesh Kukunoor. Now, let's do a rehearsal. Okay, they're saying stuff. I have no clue what they're saying.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm holding my English script and saying, oh, okay, so this is when here, oh, okay. Raja, my AD. I'm like, oh, did they get that right? Yes, sir. No, he mispronounced. Whatever. Ye chal raha hai. Now, they do a rehearsal and I find mistakes. So I run up to correct them. Shafiq Mustafa only understands Hindi. I direct in English. Shafiq Mustafa only understands Hindi.
Fantastic.
Prabhakaran only understands English, doesn't understand Hindi.
So that's second direction. So direct one for him, second direction for him.
So I have to break the whole scene down first in English. This guy's like, I got it. This guy's just standing there like this, not understood. So then Hindi. हाँ समझ गया सर मैं समझा. And then now they have to give each other cues in Sri Lankan Tamil, which both of them don't speak. They've learned the lines, both of them don't speak. And they're talking to each other in Malayalam, which I don't understand. Helping each other. When you do this, I'll say this when you do this. So I'm saying, what did you tell him? Ye kaun se line par? And I looked at Ranjit, my associate director, and said, why do I do this? Why do I have the arrogance that I can direct in a language which I don't know? Which idiot does that? No, it was the most challenging shoot of my life.
Wow, the travails of being a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Hindi part was easy, but everything else was like
Fun time. Fun
And
time.
the women are so good. The women are so feisty, so good. They can be quiet and demure. And suddenly in the interrogation scenes, you just see them flip and you see them turn. Just a little bit about them. I mean, all the girls. And did you have to watch a lot of tapes? Or like Ragottaman, was it like, this has to happen?
So, again, the visual element. So, okay, I'm going to share this. This is a fun thing. So, the actress who plays Nalini, dead ringer. They sent me the Anjana Balaji.
Yeah.
They sent me the picture of her, and I'm like, oh, this is unbelievable. And I was like, can she act? And they're like, oh, she's very good. She sends an audition. I like it, but I'm not 100% convinced. Call her to Bombay. We do a reading. Sealed. Now, the two girls who play Shubha and Dhanu, I cast them. I bring them to Bombay and I'm doing reading, both Mallus. So I'm doing readings with them and then we start the costume trial. And as I'm doing the costume trial, I'm going, this doesn't make any sense. What was I thinking? This doesn't make any sense. I flipped it. So the actress who was cast as Shubha became Dhanu. And the actress who was cast as Dhanu
that is
became
interesting.
Shubha.
How did they take it? Sportingly.
I finished everything and I go, not working. I went back and I'm like, no, flip them. And oh my God, what a great decision that was, just in the nick of time. This was a couple of days before we went on the floor. They were here for the costume trials. So yeah, and then you see each of them in their spheres, and it's goosebumps.
And even the costume fit.
It did not. Those Subhas like a tiny Gauri Menon. And the other girl, damn, her name is escaping me suddenly, was much larger. Dhanu was much larger. So, yeah.
See, from your perspective, Amit, this must have been a wondrous experience, not just because of Nagesh and the story and everything like that. Because, Sahil has experienced South Indian culture. Nagesh is South Indian. But for you as an actor, all the stories that you've done in the North Heartland,
Yeah.
in Central India,
Yeah.
for you to be in this milieu from episode 1 to 7, through the whole stretch,
Oh, it was beautiful.
embodying Karthi, it must have been wonderful. It must be a new world for you.
A new world, and it was frightening also at times. I mean, I remember the night when I think he probably thought that Amit has cracked everything. He can do everything. Just let's just send him across 3 pages of Tamil dialogues. And it's like 10 p.m. at night, right? I'm just about to sleep, hit the sack because we have to wake up early in the morning. And I go, what? 3 pages? Because here and there, a little knick-knack about, Tamil dialogues. I was managing it quite well.
Yeah.
And then I get this 3-pager of Tamil dialogues. So this is not possible, boss. So the next day, I did not meet anybody. In fact, he has a story to tell. He wanted to come and say hello to me in the vanity.
In the vanity, yeah.
And I said, nobody's allowed because I'm trying to memorize. So I would memorize one chunk, I would forget the other. Then I would try and memorize that, forget the earlier one.
Yeah.
And I went to him and said, sir, kaise hua ye, sir? Ye kaise hua ye? And because it's real life character and its incident is real and everything is so real, there is like no chance at all that you can mess this up. And especially when you playing a character which doesn't speak your language. Even with the Hindi, the first day we shot, I was speaking, he was okay with the normal Hindi thing.
And I'm going to interrupt. The reason I was okay is a lot of times in trying to get the dialect right, an actor messes up the performance because they're working so hard on the dialect. So just seeing him perform the way he instinctually spoke for me was much better. But please continue the story.
So and first day it just didn't feel right, from inside. So I went to him. I said, Nagesh bhai, this is not happening for me because okay, we're making a show in Hindi, but this is Karthikeyan. His Hindi cannot be my Hindi. And so I would like to try out a little bit of something of a twang attached to the Hindi that he speaks. And I just started flowing out.
Lovely.
I didn't even prepare for it. I think it was in my subconscious somewhere. And because I've got a lot of Mallu friends.
Beautiful.
And,
I want to say something. For all of you who are listening to this conversation, the backdrop is political. It talks about an assassination. There's lots of espionage, but do not for a moment think it's not a fun show. It's a terrific fun show, especially when all these investigating officers come together in Maligai, which is their base camp. And to me, that there are some wonderful, sensitive, fun moments. I love that lots of times cops, just like sleuths, like Holmes had Watson and, Feluda had his sidekick and Bomkesh Bakshi had his side. I love that Raghothaman and you hunt in pairs. And I love those moments where the North Indian guy is loving his filter coffee, but the South Indian guy is having masala chai. And you must have fed off each other's actors because those scenes, even when you're interrogating together, have come out very, very nicely, Sahil.
Thank you. I mean, he's such. I've been a fan of his work. I've watched Super Deluxe and then I watched Monica, Oh My Darling.
And what a guy he is.
Yeah.
He's a superb guy.
Man of few words, but when he speaks, it's a pataka.
Yeah.
And sitting with him, expecting an answer out of him, there's a proper 5-second pause before he.
Yeah.
You see, he starts with the you see. And then you expect that the conversation would go the way you want to take it. He will take it somewhere else. And then he'll bring out a fact from history, this is how it was. And you're like, okay. And that, working with him was a very different experience, very beautiful experience, very mature man, and he's someone who's worked up his ranks. He was an assistant director, and then somebody suggested that you should try acting. That's when he started acting, and he's so good at it, and he's assisted some one of my very favorite directors, Mr. Gautam Menon. He was an AD on Kaka Kaka.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a movie that is.
Yeah.
You know, Nagesh, I'm so glad that the editing pattern you've kept like a Nagesh Kukunoor film. Let me explain why. What happens with subjects of espionage and thrillers is that directors get caught into this whole pressure of let me speed it up, let me make it faster. If I do not see the lines on Amit Sial's forehead when he's thinking and he's turning away, when somebody asks him a question, should I do this or not? And he has to make a decision. And if you don't give me that stay and you rapidly cut into the next scene and do a Mission Impossible on me, then I lose the flavor of a Nagesh film or a Nagesh series. I know that Tapas Relia did the music.
Yeah.
I love the music. I love the opening track where the titles come on. I mean, it just forced me to stay on and not go to episode. I loved the empty spaces where the music comes in. And talk about your editor. I mean, is that another regular that you work with? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So just a bit on the technicians.
We have to talk about that song which they recreated.
Oh, okay.
I spoke to Tapas about it, and
Oh,
he told
really?
me how they made it, and I was like, what?
Farooq Hundekar is the editor. Joined me on City of Dreams season 1. That's where we both found our
Mojo.
yes, our sinking, footing, if you will. And since then, that guy's been with me. I mean, someone I trust with my life. Tapas has been with me forever since 2008. He's done everything I've done. Got a great sense of the background score, and with each show we keep trying different things, and the sound in The Hunt is something that I'm really proud of. The kind of textures that were used, which is a huge departure from City of Dreams, which plays out much more in your face. So this is far more subtle.
And I love the fact that you didn't go cliched. Show on Tamil Nadu, let's have Carnatic violence in it. No. It's like when they make a Hollywood commercial film with India in it and a sitar string comes.
Correct.
Or
He
flutes.
hasn't got that route. If it's necessary, he's kept it, or he's just, he's not kept it. It is very beautiful, yeah.
And great use of the tawal, the big drum. I mean, so we've used that. Well, like kuch to flavor lana hoga, but not again, like I said, in your face. The enough cannot be said about the DOP, Sangram Giri. So one of the things, and I'm glad when you mention it, because I'm like, we worked at this, is I wanted the whole show to be like the photographs I'd seen. Sparse, completely stripped away, nothing on the walls, nothing in the frame, and as if you walked into an interrogation room, as if you walked into the conference room they were sitting and talking. My directive to Sangram was, I don't want to feel the lights, I don't want to see the lights, I don't want to. It should just be like I walked in and the window is open, so you have a little bit of light coming in. Almost a documentary feel. That's what. Didn't move the camera much. 1 or 2 action sequences, I had fun. I got a steady.
Yeah, the smuggler comes in with his boat and you got to chase Sivarasan and this and that, one can understand.
Little bit.
Yeah, little
Thoda bit. But otherwise, the camera is static and you let the actors do their work. And one of the things that I cannot say enough about discovering Amit, and I'm hoping that this will be a lasting partnership for future work.
100%.
Yeah. Is the fact that he does so little. And people constantly, actors are terrified. मैं कुछ और कर दूं, अब एक और take लेता हूं तुझसे. And he does so little. He's one of those guys you can let the camera roll and it brings it back to the editing thing. You can edit when an actor, by doing so little, is holding the bloody frame and saying, don't cut away, don't cut away.
Yeah.
That's when you can do it. And I paid him the highest compliment. I said, the first time since I saw Nasir on the edit in Teen Diware, did I find an actor who I couldn't cut away from easily.
Oof.
So the long silences where he's just sitting before he says something. It's like one of the pivotal scenes when Ravindran asks him if he can do something. And it's a moral quandary because the Karthikeyan was one of those straight by the book, a gentleman.
Yeah.
And he just sits there and he looks for a long time before he nods.
That's the scene I'm talking about. When he says that I was part of the IPKF and we used to use psychological warfare. Can I go off the book? And I can see the lines on his forehead.
Yeah.
And he's turned away, and that stay
And
is
he-
just
yeah,
beautiful filmmaking, beautiful acting, beautiful cinematography, everything for me.
yeah.
I
And
just
he-
loved it.
And he
I
just
just loved
sits there and
Should have forgotten all this.
फौरन जाके देखो.
Amit Sial shall watch it, and so shall you. I do not believe in exhausting my guests, and they've had a tough few days, so I'm going to let them go now. Please watch it. It's on Sony Live. The platform is directed by Nagesh. It's from a screenplay fashioned out of a wonderful book by Aniruddha Mitra, and it's produced by Deepak, Samir, the good people at Applause, Amit Sial Sahil Vaid, such brilliant actors in it. The Hunt, the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case. From me, Hrishi K. Thank you very much, Sahil.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Amit, and thank you,
Thank you.
Nagesh. Cheers.
Pleasure.
94.3 Radio 1.